We're live. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we?
Hey, JB, how are
mate.
you? Hey, Chris Lee, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, CJ. Jack?
Yeah, deadly.
Now, just before we kick off, we just want to acknowledge traditional custodians, CJ.
Okay, yes. Before we get going, I suppose, acknowledge where we're coming from, where our meetings are, and I know, Chris, you're down there in Canberra. So for traditional owners in that region, as well as here in Southeast Queensland, the Bunjalung Yugambeh people of Southeast Queensland, we acknowledge those guys as well as pay our respects and our love, I guess, to our elders, past and present. And some emerging ones too. Those young fellas that we talk about quite a lot on this segment, I suppose. This check-in, all the best, and all our love and support. So, welcome, guys.
Absolutely.
Well said, brother. Well said. Very well said. So, and welcome everyone in that's gonna have a drop in and say g'day, and we acknowledge you fellas as well. So, thank you. Now, our very special guest today is Chris Lee. So we're going to get a little bit of a backstory from you, please, Chris. Tell us about that nice weather down there in Canberra as well.
Oh, brother. Thanks, fellas. Chris Lee, Larrakia. Well, in actually in the language of the Larrakia people, Gudingloa Batjiwa, Nayana Bandira, Namuli Gulamerjan, Karijari, Biliba, which is basically good afternoon, you mob. My name is Bandira, which is a name given to me by some of the mob out in Arnhem Land. I'm a Larrakia Garijari. Larrakia is from Darwin, Garijari is from just south of Broome. And thank you for today. Also wanted to acknowledge the traditional custodians on all the lands that we're meeting on today from everywhere. And to pay that respect to our elders, having worked with a lot of our elders, you just got to admire their resilience and tenacity and strength, and to achieve the stuff that I now enjoy. So yeah, thanks for that. Backstory, little bit of a yarn. I worked in Murray Media, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Media for many years. Alice Springs, out in the desert, APY lands, and then it went to Brisbane, where I probably first met you, CJ.
Yep.
Working at NEMA, and was then I moved because I was travelling quite a lot. I missed my oldest daughter's birthday and first steps and things like that, and I didn't think it was worth it. Family is crucial, for my own sense of self well-being, but also my own mental health. So I quit that and went to the criminal justice system. I went to the Brisbane Youth Detention Centre, and I worked there as a youth worker. They call them youth workers. And some of the best times, because it was mostly Murray boys in there, Cherbourg mob. But they were fantastic. I had a really good time, and I found out a lot about myself as well. And then I had to go back to Darwin for an issue. Worked at Dondale, the old Dondale, not this new one, or the old new one. And then come back to Queensland and entered the adult criminal justice system. So I worked in prisons. I was a custodial officer, and then did the Royal Commission into child abuse, which was just damaging. And then cultural liaison officer, and then somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You want to come to Canberra? Work in diabetes." And at that stage, look, I'd been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in around 2014, roughly. And it's one of those things where you go, no, it can't be. I feel fine. I'm walking, talking, eating everything I can. And it was that journey to discover what I had that actually led me now to relocating to freezing cold Canberra, -1 last night. Anyway, I got a little potbelly stove downstairs. I've already done about 4 ton of wood. Got another ton coming on Saturday tomorrow. Yeah, that's a snapshot, brother.
Yes.
Thanks, brother.
Wow.
Now we've got a few people joining us this evening. Sam French down in Melbourne. G'day, Sam. It's probably nearly as cold as what it is in Canberra down there in Melbourne. We've got Tammy Hunter watching up in Brisbane. G'day, Tammy. We've got Fran White. G'day, Fran. How are you, darling?
Franny, yeah.
We've got Mim Cole watching.
My niece.
Yeah.
Hey, Uncle Chris. Uncle Chris. Yeah.
Chris.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. No, that was thanks for that. That was a really good kind of snapshot, I suppose, Chris, about what you've been doing and stuff. It's interesting that you're working now in diabetes or around that sort of stuff. Yeah, no, it's really good because a lot of what I do is around men's health. So, and like you, no symptoms, nothing, got diagnosed with prostate cancer. So, what's that all about? And, then went on the journey, I suppose. And that's where I sort of ended up in working in men's health, I guess. So, a really interesting story. And I know that sometimes when you find your way, your body actually told you where you need to be. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Certainly, this condition where, and prior to this, I'd been on that mental health journey in the correctional systems. Somebody mentioned vicarious trauma, and I was like, "What's that? Can I get a tablet for it?" And then I realised after. I started to realise and listen to my own body, like you said, CJ, that I started to realise that I was getting smashed around just by listening to stories, particularly of the aunties. You build up a rapport and a trust sufficient for them to go, I will tell you my story. And you just go, oh, my God. And I did that for 3 years. And there's still so much we need to learn and understand in that, in the mental health realm, and how it has impacted on us mob from the day of invasion, and how it continues to impact on us. But diabetes was another one where, when I got diagnosed, I went through a couple of Aboriginal medical services, and I actually had one of the doctors, a bit of a crusty one, say, you caused this. You had some, poor lifestyle choices. You drink too much. I was a smoker in those days. Loved my white rice, white bread, all of it, And I felt like the biggest loser on the planet. I was going, no, I can't be, Anyway, so I left. But looking at my children, I'm looking at them going, no, I've got to find out more about this.
Yeah.
So the journey from there to now, where Diabetes Australia, for the first time in its 30-year history, has established a senior Aboriginal role to focus just on Aboriginal diabetes, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander diabetes. And the research suggests that it's not lifestyle, it's genetic. It's it's goes back to pre-invasion, where Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people were hunter-gatherers, and their diets were feast and famine, depending on the season. And we also used to traverse large areas of country to maintain ceremony, to maintain sites and other things. So our physiology actually became suited to that particular lifestyle. We only ever drank fresh water, or there are some communities where they have sap and other things they put in the water, make it sweet. And only ever had fresh food, what we gathered, what we hunted, etc. So our bodies over millennia got so used to this. And then when the invasion happened, we started, and it all started down south with the mob down south first, getting herded into missions and stopped being able to go out on country, stopped being able to hunt traditionally. And we started, and we all know the rations: flour, sugar, and tea, stick of tobacco. So all of a sudden, our bodies are now being fed processed food. We weren't allowed to travel. We all know that we needed permits to go anywhere. We had to be out of town. Brisbane's got boundary roads. We had to be out of the boundary roads by sundown. So our entire lifestyle changed almost overnight, and our bodies are absolutely not used to Western ways and Western foods. So the first recorded case of diabetes in an Aboriginal person was in South Australia in 1923. All right. And I reckon that's by accident. Someone just discovered it and said, hey, this lad's got diabetes, because they wouldn't have looked prior to that. And then the first real study on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander diabetes was in the 60s, mid-60s, right? And then they discovered in New South Wales there was a couple of missions where 5% of the population had diabetes. Now, you think back to the 60s, and you two are too young, but I was born in the 60s. You know, and that's not that long ago. We're now talking in regions like the APY lands, 40% of the population has diabetes. So the stats came out yesterday, 8% of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander population in Australia has type 2 diabetes, followed closely by gestational, and then a little bit of type 1. The problem with diabetes, it's that sneaky condition, you know, it's sly. It gets into your body and you can't feel it. There's no physical symptoms, but it's running amok in your system, and it's got such nasty side effects where it starts clogging up all of the tiny little arteries and capillaries, so your eyes, your kidneys, your feet, heart. They all start to get damaged, irreparably damaged, where you can't pull it back. So, yeah, there's a lot that can be done, still needs to be done, and we're 12 months into it.
So is this a program you're running, Chris? Is it has it got an end date, or is it going to be ongoing for our mob, or?
Yes, it will be ongoing, and hopefully with some new direction coming out of Diabetes Australia, where I've been pushing. We've got states and territory agents or state and territory diabetes organisations who've been saying for years that this is a crisis. We are in crisis at the moment, and Diabetes Australia has turned around and said, shit, it is. So yes, it's going to be ongoing, and we're going to be developing messaging.
Is it national, Chris, or national program?
Is it national?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm the Lone Ranger working nationally.
Geez, that's a big ask, eh?
Eric's on here. Eric's on here, brother.
Yeah, I see him, brother there.
Diabetes Queensland.
Well, look, with brother Eric there, and I tell the story before, I've told him to. When I was trying to find out more about my diabetes, and I was running into you know, you get pamphlets that are written by clinical people, medical people. When I joined up, I got a bundle of information and cookbook and, you know, portion plate, but none of it made sense to me, and none of it made sense to my lived experience as an Aboriginal person, right? Couldn't relate to any of it. So anyway, I saw a brother at, I think it was Musgrave Park, one of the big NAIDOC day. And I was going, this is just doing my head. No. So we sat down at a yard, and he started telling me in our way what was going on. And I went, a little light bulb just went, shit. So from there, then I was put on the right path, but also had a little bit more confidence to ask the questions, you know. Whereas before you go to the doctor, you go, shame job, you're going to think I'm an idiot. But now I could say, no, brother, tell me more about glucose in my system. What's it doing? Shit like that.
Hey, Chris, can I ask you, how old were you when you discovered that you had diabetes?
I was 52 right now. I would have been around 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but so many.
As you're saying, it's like so important for our mobs to be able to get those checks because it is a silent killer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's vital. But there's a stigma around diabetes. So, we're talking to, there's some research done in, say, the Northern Territory, and they're talking to young fellas, and they go, nah, knock it off. That's an old person's disease.
Yeah.
But we're finding in the Northern Territory, kids as young as 10 are now being diagnosed as pre-diabetic.
We found that too, like when I was working on Mornington Island, and the sugar up there, it's the biggest problem.
Mornington's unique because they got that home brew.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, that home brew, that is just toxic. And look, when we was up there working and doing some stuff, when I was at the Crime and Corruption Commission, and we're sitting there talking to the justice groups and some of the aunties on the justice groups, and they were saying, look, you can actually tell who the manufacturer is by the colour.
Yeah.
But it is so damaging to your body.
100%.
Yeah. So anyway,
we found up there too. I mean, and as you say, some of those young kids, as young as 9 and 10, the sugar that's going into their systems is just crippling. So,
well, I noticed that the remote stores, so all of those companies that service all these remote and regional communities, you've got Ibis on the Torres Strait, you've got Outback stores, and you've got others. There's a review on remote regional community store pricing at the moment because carbs are cheap, white flour, white bread, white rice. That stuff it travels well, it's cheap and you can't blame an auntie who's sitting down looking after, 4, 2 or 3 grown hairy ass sons. Sorry. You got, and their families, and then you got 8 grannies all living in a 3-bedroom house. And she's on a basics card pension.
Yeah.
Look, I'm from a family of 14, 15 with Mim. And, I remember Mum and Dad had this big commercial rice cooker. It was like restaurant size. Just to feed the kids. You could have a little bit of gravy or a little bit of something, and that would be a feed. Come home from school, white rice on white bread with tomato sauce sandwich.
Yeah.
No wonder I got diabetes.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been sort of told that I've got borderline diabetes. I don't know what that means, whether I've got it or not. I don't know. And so,
you're pre-diabetes.
Pre-diabetes. So I've got to look after that. But you talk about rice, mate. When we used to sit down for a Sunday roast, rice was on the plate as well.
Look, we'd cook bolognese and have rice with it. That's what you do.
Like you do, that's right. Yeah, I know. But seriously, it's just a terrible thing. It's got to change your lifestyle a bit, but it's really hard once you're entrenched.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but it's also, as you said, Chris. The price of things. Like it's cheap, it travels well, and that's what's getting into our remote communities. All the cheap stuff. So it's something that has been long awaited. This review on pricing and all that sort of stuff, because it's absolutely horrible in those places.
Yeah, well, hopefully that review. I know the pricing's probably the big thing, but it's about nutritional value.
Absolutely,
yeah.
But one goes with the other, though, doesn't it? Because like, if we bring down the prices to something that's more reasonable, we're going to be able to buy better stuff as well. So then we can we can start to probably eat a little bit better, nutritional wise. So.
Well, I remember a trip out to Maningrida when I was working at Bachelor College, right? So Entrance Island's just off Maningrida. and we went fishing, and we caught so much fish. It was like, and this was like in the first hour. We're like, what do we do? So we motored back to the community, and there was all these aunties sitting on the beach or on the jetty and stuff fishing. So we said, yeah, you want this fish? Yeah, no worries, come and grab it. And then we went back out again, and we camped on Entrance Island, and we caught even more fish. And I was so sick of fish. We had it boiled, raw, fried on the coals. That one of the brothers there from the community, he had a Frey Bentos pie, one of them pies in a tin.
Oh, yeah.
I was going, brother, I'll give you a full packet of drum, unopened, with papers if you swap me. Yeah, no worries, good deal. But then I started thinking about, this whole notion that we've been stopped from hunting traditionally. And so what about, and I was talking to a few people about we've got these community ranger groups in every community now.
Yeah.
They got licenses for chainsaw, for, tractor and all of this. Can they actually be trained to go and harvest some of the feral animals, water buffalo, wild pig, and actually start introducing that as a source of protein back into the community? The coastal, so the 4 groups that I try and work or use is saltwater, freshwater, desert, and rainforest, roughly. Saltwater mob can go fishing, crabbing, to reintroduce some of that fresh, clean protein back into the community. And so, yeah, that's an idea that we're still trying to work on as well. But I also want to take nutritionists out to a community store and say, all right, come here. Let's go in the store. Here's $30. I want you to whip up a healthy nutritional meal for 6 people. Come on then.
100%. 100%.
Can't
do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Nope. Not the stuff they got in those stores, I bet you. Anyway,
just as a quickly thing, when I was living on the APY lands in a remote community, the truck from Adelaide would come every 2 weeks, and it would have 2 or 3 pallets per community that it was visiting on its run, and we all knew when the truck was in, because you had about a 2-3 day window to get anything fresh.
Yeah.
The rest was then frozen or tinned.
Yeah. And that's the same as Mornington Island. I mean, the barge comes in every Wednesday, and as you say, you've got a couple of days to get your fresh stuff, and then after that, you got nothing. Basically the ship, to be honest. So
that's it. That's it. It's highly processed. It's high in salt.
Yeah.
When I was working in this remote community, they set up a pirate television station by adding 20 cents to all the cool drink in the shop. Sad to say, they raised $1,000 in a week. And you just go, ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so, but we've also now, I've been to a community where the community store shuts at 4:30, say.
Yeah.
But 2 kilometres out on the crossroads is a non-Aboriginal owned roadhouse that's open till 11.
Yeah.
And you can go in there and get any number of deep fried things. Expensive, but kids hungry. What do you do? Oh, well, let's go to the roadhouse. I'll buy you some deep fried chicken and some chips and some, there's $50 gone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Easy. Yeah. Absolutely.
But not all doom and gloom, brothers. Not all doom and gloom.
Well,
people like Brother Ray Kelly in New South Wales doing his exercise programs.
That's right.
We've got Brother Eric and the First Nations Health Unit at Diabetes Queensland working on diabetes yarning. Programs about just taking the conversation right back to basics. To basically, it's not your fault, and this is why. This is the history of diabetes in our communities. This is the history of our bodies. This is the history of our lifestyles.
And that sort of takes the shame off it too, doesn't it? You know, like because then you like you think, oh, what have I done wrong to on me? You know what I mean? But and it's about having that right awareness for our mob, because as you said before, you've got all these pamphlets and all these brochures and all these stuff. What do I do with these? You know?
Firelighters, brother, firelighters.
Exactly.
But the other big, and you hit it on the head where it takes the shame out of it, because one thing I know, and it worked with me, it was me. I get wild if I feel like I'm being judged by a white person. Right. So, and Brother Eric was the first one to, he said, no, this is, I get wild. And I'll walk away. I don't care. They're the best expert in the world. They're going to give me all the help in the world. No, I don't care. You can shove it. Because I feel I'm being judged. And that's our mob. That's what we do. Which is why we need Aboriginal health workers, which is why we need that, you know.
It's all that Friday, you know, that shame talk. Friday, I don't want to go. I'm not going there. They're going to tell me what I've got, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm better off not knowing, you know. Like
I'll go and see Auntie. She's a bit of a nungary, or she healer. She can help me. Or denial. Denial is a happy place. So I was used to work with some of these boys in the prison, and I said, that big plate of chips with gravy, you know. And I go, you mom diabetic? Yeah. What was your bloods this morning? Nah, I don't take them. They were always too high. Your mom.
But you're spot on though, brother. I mean, I know a few years ago we did some work with Prostate Cancer Foundation, and you know, like we were talking to our lads. We had like around 100 lads in a room, and it's about that awareness. It's about that promotion. You know, like talk to us in our real way. You know, because one uncle, you know, he said, I've had prostate cancer for a couple of years. He goes, but I'm too ashamed because I don't want to be with people because I think I can give that to them, you know. And it was so sad to listen to that, you know. Yeah. Child, you know, and given all the advice around that sort of stuff, you know. But he's trying to live by himself and work for himself, you know.
Done.
Yeah. You know.
But you got to. The thing is with that prostate cancer, same with diabetes, it's just a blood test, you know, and that's what a lot of fellas worry about, going to see a doctor about their prostate. Shame, George said.
You're not going to go to the doctor and have him put on glove and
No, it's just a blood test. So go and get yourself checked.
Yeah, well, now it's a blood test. There's that and around hospitals, there's still that stigma around hospitals where a lot of our mob think that's you only go there to die. We've all got family stories, family histories of people who have gone to hospital and never come out. So I tell people and clinicians and experts and whoever else that for the average Aboriginal person, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander person, they got two things almost guaranteed in their life. Almost two things guaranteed. So they've been in touch with or know somebody or have been in the criminal justice system, or they have got or know somebody or have family members who have diabetes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Almost a two guaranteed.
Yeah.
I go and talk to people in the street here, and I met one old auntie. She was, you know, she made beads and she was selling it at the shops. And I always go and say hello, you know, how you going? And anyway, we're talking about it. She said, "Oh, you work at diabetes?" Yeah. She said, "I'm diabetic. I got diabetes." Oh, true. And I'd just been to the chemist, see. And I said, "Well, how's your medication going?" "Oh, no, I don't take that." "What?" No, because on the box it says to be taken with a meal. And she said, "My boy, I don't know when I'm going to have my next meal."
Oh, no.
I said, "No, just take your medication." But I'm on one. I got two, and I'm on 7 different meds at the moment. I'm trying to get off them. Even with close to gap, they're $40 each.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, not good.
No.
Too expensive. Yeah, that's right. No, but that's good. You know, it's that's sad. That is, isn't it? You know, that's where that
This
stories.
auntie. And I
Yeah,
met
yeah,
another uncle down here, and
yeah.
all I heard was, "Hey, you're a Lee." Oh no, which one did my brothers or sisters you know? And how much he owed them. But anyway, I chatted with him, and I was saying, "So you're going to come to the next diabetes clinic at the Aboriginal Medical Service?" He said, "Oh, I can't. I've got to rely on my nephew or family, and they often don't have a working motor car, or they don't have petrol price, so he can't go." So I said, "Well, how do you access your diabetes educator or endocrinologist and all that?" And he goes, "I don't." So you think about it, the further you get away from the bitumen, the less access you're going to get to specialists, to medicine. If you're on insulin, you got nowhere to store that at home, so it's got to be held up at the clinic.
Yeah.
So there's all of these little barriers that and we're finding a mob now just that just resign themselves to the fact this is just going to kill me.
No.
And they do, don't they? They do, that's what they do say. Oh, no, I know it's going to kill me now. So,
well, you got mob. We was just up at Palm just before COVID shut us all down, and Eric was there. And we was chatting away, but they were saying that they got to go to council for dialysis, and if there's no spare dialysis machines, they got to go to Brisbane.
Yeah.
And then they got to impose on family in Brisbane for bed and board, or it's incredibly expensive to 3 times a week to go down and get dialysis.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And we've got a couple more people there. We just need to say g'day to. Katie Thompson's watching. I think Katie's in Cairns. She said, "Afternoon, gents." We've got Harold there. He said, "Very interesting session. Awareness factors." And he also said there was a time when it was how many fish you catch, then gets to how many tablets we are taking. Yeah, true. And we've got George Paris watching. He's in Melbourne, George. G'day, George. Glenn Poole said, "Hey, fellas." G'day, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn. How you going, Glenn?
And we've got Paul watching down in Melbourne as well. So g'day to all of you. I hope you're enjoying what Chris has given us a bit of knowledge on tonight. So
absolutely.
Chris,
Dennis Jace there too. He just dropped on. Hey, Dennis, how are you, bud?
G'day, Dennis.
Yeah.
And Neil and Stan are watching as well. So.
And one thing that, and as you might know, I love these sessions. I log on every week. One thing everyone can do from this is, when you log off, go and talk to family. You'll be surprised at how many members of your family either have the condition or are in some way affected by it. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, is encourage people to go and just talk to family about it. For me, if you get the aunties involved, magic will happen, right? Because no one's going to diss an auntie. No one. I don't care who you are.
You're a brave man. You do.
Oh, brother. And so we're looking at through some of these more community-based education and awareness programs, using language. We've got some. I pushed hard to get some Aboriginal language resources. Not printed, useless, but certainly in using radio, using BRACs, using the community radio sector, Aboriginal community radio sector. 3KND down in Melbourne, 4AAA up there in Brisbane, to start broadcasting little yarns about diabetes and taking the frighten out of it. So that people start to turn around. So we had this young girl who did a beautiful design for us to be our brand. Anyway, part of her research project, she went and said to her dad, "Oh, do you know much about diabetes?" And he reckon, "Yeah, I've got diabetes." your auntie, your uncle, your auntie, your uncle. Everyone's got diabetes. She was just blown away.
Yeah.
And it's more prevalent than people think. But like that uncle with his prostate condition, no one talk about it.
No one talks about it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And young ones think, oh no, that's only old people. Our young mothers who have got gestational diabetes aren't being properly screened, or they're not managing their condition properly. So, I found out a little bit later on that my type 2 diabetes was probably developed in utero, so in my mother. And I was like, what? I didn't even have a say in the matter. No.
That's right. Yeah.
So now I try and talk to my brothers and my sisters, and I found out myself, oh, what do you mean you're type 2? Yeah, I had gestational, and then it developed into type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. No, it's that thing, isn't it, about taking control of your health, really, isn't it? No, it's about, hey, look, don't think, that you're going to survive all of this stuff. You need to actually know what's going on in your body. Go and see them mob, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you for sure, but don't take it, don't take it the wrong way. It's just that you need to know,
That's right.
And the earlier that we can do it, the better, isn't it? So, the chance of turning it around even, like we tell the story of my wife Lisa, her grandfather, he discovered he had diabetes at 60. He started training, going back into training and doing all, and he still runs ultra marathons today at 85. And he's turned his diabetes right around. He hasn't got diabetes anymore,
Absolutely.
Give people hope, you know what I mean?
That lad Ray Kelly you talk about, what he's doing out there is just amazing. It's just
Brother Ray.
Unbelievable what he's doing. It's just he can really reverse it.
Absolutely. And for there's a section of the Aboriginal community who that is absolutely appropriate for. They are still mobile. They are still have access to good internet or good food, etc. But there's also a lot of our mob out there who are battling, who are just struggling. They've got mental health issues. There's socioeconomic poverty is one of the biggest factors in our incarceration. So the boys that I spoke to, the chronic illiteracy that afflict a lot of our mob. I don't know about you, mob, but I hated school. I absolutely hated school. I never finished high school.
Let's not talk about school.
Just didn't like it. Football was okay. You could chase some young ones, but the Western school system just didn't suit. So programs like what Mim and David do with Ballina, etc., are perfect for our young people. And JB, what you do in working with out on country with people is the way our mob need to be. Need to bring about some of that self-pride, But demystify these conditions. So all the associated chronic diseases that go with diabetes, the heart, the eyes, the kidneys, the feet. We can all do stuff that, like Ray, we can make some lifestyle choices where we get off all this expensive medications. We can live long and healthy lives, and be around for our grannies and whatever else.
And I think that's it. That's another important thing too, Chris and CJ, is that, if we don't want to do it for ourselves, maybe we need to look at the ones that we're going to be leaving behind, like such as our kids, our grandkids, and, the future generations, So it is something that we really have to have a good hard look at if we're going down that track, I guess. So.
Absolutely.
Our health is critical. It's certainly diabetes, second only to cardiovascular disease, is the second single largest killer of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in this country. Look, all the complications. It's okay for people to get up there and sermonise about eat healthy and walk around the block and do all of this. But if you got bung leg, I got arthritis in my right knee and right hip, and I'll use that as an excuse. I can't bump my hip.
Hey, is that from off your motorbike?
Oh, don't go there. Yeah, I got busted shoulder from that. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
And some people aren't mobile. Some people have so many other obligations in their life that they're diabetes. So they reckon on average a person with type 2 diabetes thinks about their condition, this is white fellas, 121 times a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm up there. I think about my diabetes constantly, and particularly around diet.
So can I ask you there, Chris? So when you say you're thinking about it, are you thinking about the positive things, or are you thinking about the negative things, or both, or?
Both. It's around cool drink. Should I have that, or I should get off the bus one stop early and walk.
Okay. Yeah.
Because my sugars were high this morning. Yeah.
It sounds like you're very conscious of it. So what about if you get those cravings, Chris? Geez, I'd love to eat that. That type of thing. What do you do?
Well, I specifically asked one of the doctors here in Canberra, because when I come to Canberra in Queensland, I was living out past Ipswich, in between Ipswich and Toowoomba. See, nothing out there, nothing. When I got here, Chinatown just there.
Oh,
all right. So I said to that doctor, does crispy pork belly affect my diabetes? They reckon that's the rice that will do more damage than the pork.
It.
I hear you, brother. No rice with my crispy pork belly. Thank you.
I'm having the pork belly and just not having the rice.
That's it. And I asked about chili sauce. No, that's all. Thank you, brother. All I need to hear. Don't explain anymore. That's another thing too. Where growing up in such a big family, I still eat quick. So in our family under Dad, all the little ones, all the little nyonyons would get their meal first. Then all my sisters and my mum and that would get theirs first. And us boys would be, there's 8 boys. And we'll be like, hurry up, you mob, stop. You're mucking around now. Just get your feed, get. And then we'd into it. And regardless of how much was left in the pot, whatever, you just hoover to get back, whether you needed it or not, right?
Yeah.
So that and I've tried to break that habit, but it's one of those things where you just pile it up and smash it, and before you listen to your body and it goes, no more, or knock it off, I'll go back and I'll look for more. But now I like to go, no, just wait.
That's enough. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I wonder how you deal with those cravings, So it's kind of, I'm not there yet, but I should be, looking after what I eat, and just considering what that's going to do to me. Yeah,
a little bit of pork belly and steamed vegetables.
Steamed vegetables. Yeah, that's right.
Now,
Chinese vegetables.
I do have to ask you, how's Uncle Tony going?
Yeah, right. He's doing some great stuff in that, particularly in the youth mental health space.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, so another one, get a phone call out of the blue. Bruss, can you go Melbourne for me? What? Yeah, no, I want an award, but I don't want to go. So I'd go and pick up. He got Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Cultural Healer of the Year from the Suicide Australia or something.
Yeah.
So I had to go there and pick up his award for him.
He's doing he's doing some wonderful work up there in Darwin. So
yeah, he just come back from a 2-3 day retreat where they had all these young people. And when I was at the prison, I used to ring him all the time because we had a lot of mob that were their mental health was culturally based, not sort of white fella driven. And in the prisons, their responses just dose you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it took nearly 7 months to get a smoking ceremony done. we had some of the boys come out of that just going, "Oh, this is fantastic."
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Jack and JB and Chris, we got Jan's turned up. She said, "Hello, sorry late today. Was waiting for 5:30. Though got my times muddled." And she says, "Hello, Chris, Jack, and Charlie." Zane Hendricks is down your way too. Now he's from Stratty, young Zane, and he said that good Chinese at Dixon.
Oh, brother.
G'day, Zane. Hey,
Yeah, and then Bernadette Lynch, three wise men, she reckons.
Three wise men. I don't know.
Well,
And Eric Peters there too. Hey, Eric, how are you, brother?
Hey, Uncle Eric's 81. We're going to get him on one afternoon and have a yarn.
81, yeah.
Yeah. From down the hill away, eh?
Yeah, I bet you he knows a bit about diabetes and his family. Because everyone does, I think. You know, my family's the same.
And we've got Andrew King watching too. So, g'day, Andrew. How are you, mate? He runs some good men's programs as well. So,
and they just quickly jump in. They're crucial. Us men don't talk about it, our health. We don't talk to each other. We don't disclose. We don't open up, and that's one of our biggest obstacles.
I do have to say, I think we've got a little bit better, Chris, over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we are. Look, if we can create that space for our lads to be able to feel safe in a well-facilitated space, they do start to talk about their concerns and issues.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. A lot of lads won't, but once they do come into a space that is safe for them, they start to talk about their concerns and issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Need much more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, and that's really up to sort of fellas like us, I suppose, but also them to start talking about it, you know, with their mob and their family and their, you know, their children, all that sort of stuff. So pass it on. Dennis reckons, good chat, guys. We have the knowledge now. We now need to be honest with ourselves, and that's it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah,
DJ. Yeah, no, that's right. But you know, we've got all these health clinics all over the place. We've got public health as well, and you know, we still got to get our blokes to it, don't we? You know. Yeah, don't be ashamed. Just get there and have a look and see what you can do to improve your health.
And I think that's why, and we spoke about this morning, CJ. Why I think, you know, like men's groups are so important because they're able to be held in a safe space. You know, like even if it's under a tree, and you can still get that promotion. You can still get that awareness out there for our lads to be able to ask questions as well, and because that's what we need to be doing is asking questions about stuff like you're talking about, Chris, because we don't know, like our fellas don't know about it, you know. So so it's not about being shame, it's about, you know, looking after ourselves and doing it the right, you know, proper way, you know. So I think what you're doing, brother, is absolutely amazing. So I don't know if there's enough of you to you know, because it's such a huge task you're taking on, brother. So, you know, like if you need awareness and that, CJ and I, we can help with that as well, you know. So
and look, and social media, as you fellas know, you know, social media is now such a huge part of how we communicate across each other, not only just in this COVID environment, but in general. And forums like this one are absolutely critical to having those conversations where people can hear a yarn about an issue and start to go, you know what, that's me, or yeah, that's my uncle, or that's my brother boy, or that's my sister girl, and that's how we start to get that that confidence and that less shame around some of these issues, you know.
You're right, mate. Yeah, you're right. And when they see us talking about it, that, you know, opens the door for them to talk about it as well, I think, you know. Yeah.
Well, exactly. This you know, we're atypical Aboriginal and Islander people. What we've been through is almost exactly what most Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are going through, having come from you know, housing commission backgrounds, having scrabbled, you know, when you're as kids. Racism was huge. My wife couldn't believe me when I said, "No, that lad's following us around the shop." This was here in Canberra. This was only early last year. And I said, "That lad's following us." No, don't knock it off. He's going to be stupid. So I started running around and trying to dodge him, to give him the slip. Anyway, he was good. He was only a young fellow. He was good. He got there. So I walked up to him and said, "Here, brother, this is my shopping list. Can you help me find everything? You're following me around. You might as well just walk with me." He's like, "Oh, no, I'm here at the price something." Come on.
Yeah.
We've all been followed around the shops.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's all those social determinants, mate. That's it, it's they're the things that, poor man's health is always going to suffer,
Yeah,
that's right. But,
anyway.
But that's not to say we can't do it, It's just
absolutely. We can do it together, and that's what.
That's right.
A big theme since we've been young, and CJ has that. We can do it together. And why can't we help each other? That's
absolutely, mate.
Now, Chris, I've got just a question for you about has COVID-19 affected how your work's been going and getting out there to be able to get the word out there, I guess. So.
Yeah, it has. It's been a huge impact, and we're just about to kick off a specific Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander diabetes in COVID messaging, because what happened was we found that under COVID and the hysteria around COVID and the fear and everything else that was generated, a lot of people dropped their diabetes care and management. Just absolutely stopped.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They were worried about running out, getting Big Mob toilet paper or, whatever. So now we're just about to launch a campaign called Back on Track. We want people to learn more about their diabetes, and those people with diabetes to get back on track with their care and management, go back to their clinics, have those tests, start talking to the specialists again where you have them. Telehealth is big at the moment, but what we found was in regional and remote areas when I was working on the Royal Commission into Child Abuse, they're not confidential. If you're in a community and you walk into a clinic, you're related to just about half the Murrays in there. You go, "Hello, what you doing here?" "Oh, nothing. I've come to see them mob about,
Yeah, but
and so what we found was that people weren't going to go in. People weren't going in. Uncle might not go in to talk about his prostate. Same job. I know all them mob. So there was a lot of that in COVID. People couldn't travel. They couldn't engage with their local medical centre, et cetera. But now that there are some restrictions lifting and you can at least travel within your state, go down to your local medical service, re-engage with your diabetes care and management plan, have your eyes checked, have your feet checked, etc.
Yeah, really good advice, brother. Really good advice.
I think the thing that really I really enjoy is that telehealth stuff, because they can just ring you up and you can do your consult over the phone before you even get to the clinic, so it's really good, that handy. You don't have to go and wait there or do all that sort of triage sort of stuff beforehand I get there. Yeah.
I'll have to find a video one because I got telephone. I did a couple of telephone telehealth things.
Yeah.
And my doctor's just anyway, another story. But for a lot of our mob, that disconnected voice, and particularly in regional and remote areas, I remember they were saying, "Oh, Royal Commission. When the Royal Commission into Child Abuse finishes, we're going to set up 1-800 numbers." So I went, okay. So I was traveling around Northern Territory communities, and I'd walk around to all the public telephone booths, because you can't get mobile, nothing. I'll take photo, bust it up, whatever, and go, "Here, who are you going to ring now?" So they got to go school, police station, clinic, or council to use the phone. And anyway.
Yeah, that's hard.
More people we need to say g'day to. Jenny Wood's watching. She's down in Canberra, Chris. So g'day, Jenny. I've got Tessa Martin watching. Tessa's in New Zealand, I think. So so g'day, Tessa. Hope you're well. Hope you and the family are well. Jenny said, "Hello, guys."
Yep.
Sharon Jackson. G'day, Sharon. She said, lovely discussion.
Loving the discussion, yeah.
And we've got Steve Carnes from Darwin watching.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve. How are you, brother?
Stephen, yeah. How you going, mate?
Uncle Eric, he said, can you ask Chris, is there any panic buying up there?
Up there.
Not in the Aboriginal community. We had panic buying in insulin and things like that, but not for type 2 where it's mainly tablets and other things. No, not really.
Okay.
There's no panic buying yet of toilet paper and stuff like that. Only in Victoria, that's why they got army out. Can't be.
So Steve Torres said, great yarning session and very informative. Jenny Wood said, managing chronic conditions like diabetes is even more difficult under COVID.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we're trying to tell people, as restrictions ease up, get back on track, get back into it. It's important.
I think that's such a brilliant way of doing it, Chris, because as you said, some people going off track, now we can get them back on track, and it's
back on track, yeah.
It's a great name to start with, but it's going to be such a great program as well.
Good luck. It's all around. We're on a journey. We're with our chronic disease management and awareness. We're all on this journey together, and we all need each other. In that same motor car driving down the same direction, and to be able to reduce it's crisis, it's epidemic in our mob, and there's not a lot happening.
Now, even with you just talking about this, Chris, it makes me think, and it makes me go, oh, geez, I hope I'm going to be all right, go and get checked and that sort of stuff. So I think it's such a good yarn that we're having tonight about something that is so horrible and so devastating to our community. So
but the central message is, it's absolutely not your fault.
Yeah.
Absolutely not your fault that you have this condition. It's almost a direct result of invasion.
Yeah.
All right. So can't be that sort of militant about it, but when our lifestyles changed almost 180 degrees, and our source of food, our limited activity, there's communities when I was living in the Central Desert where that crobbery for a week. Imagine all the calories you're burning there.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not doing that now. There's card games under trees to try and earn money to.
Well, you mentioned that before, Chris. Last year we spent 2 weeks out in the desert up near Fitzroy Crossing out in the Kimberleys, and it was such a brilliant way of doing things. You spoke about the rangers before. There's such talented lads and girls. They were catching us all the food that we needed. We didn't take much at all with us. So we spent 2 weeks out there, and it was just amazing to see them fellas and girls go to work and be able to feed us and without having anything else, So
that's amazing. That's their country. They know it backwards. They know where and how and what's in season. You would have come off that 2 weeks almost with a six-pack there, Jack.
I don't know about that, brother, but yeah.
Are you thinking about the Fitzroy Crossing?
That's it. No, seriously, where we were, a little place called Cuckoo, I think. It was seriously in the desert, so no sneaking back to Fitzroy Crossing.
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah.
And
actually,
to see the talented people do their stuff was just amazing.
Yeah. It's a bit like those guys up at Hopevale there, JB, going out. The men's group go out fishing for the whole community, They just go out, do their stuff, come back, bring all the fish, jig on whatever, they all bring it back. But that's I think, I like your message, Chris, about, it's not our fault, but it's also a message about go and get yourself checked anyway, it doesn't matter. whether you got it or not, just go and get yourself checked.
And the earlier the better.
I'll put my hand up to go and get myself checked again, and Jack, we'll do that. And in the meantime, I've got a few little health issues that I need to tackle, I suppose. So weight's one of them. So maybe it's about that diet again.
You're right,
yeah, just had that pork belly, and what's the name?
Yeah. That's actually how I got diagnosed. That's how I got screened. I went for my 715 Deadly Choices check because I wanted that T-shirt, I don't care about anything else. Just, whatever, take blood, I'll pee in the cup, no worries. Just give me that T-shirt. And then I left, and 2 days later, the auntie on the reception, she rang me and said, doctor wants to speak to you. Yeah, what for? I got my T-shirt, I'm right. She said, no. And I said, what? And she said, I can't tell you, you got to come and see him. That's when he said, no, you got type 2 diabetes. That was stupid. So that's how it all started. But those 715 checks, absolute fantastic initiative. Our mob are getting screened by default because we want that T-shirt. So we asked Eric, we were talking the other day about we're developing a range of merchandise for us when we go out into communities. And we're working on Torres Strait and looking at going up there later on in the year. And I was saying, well, instead of, football or frisbee, drink cup or whatever, everyone does them. Let's do throw nets. Let's do Diabetes Australia throw net. And then we got silly and went, no, we can raffle off a dinghy.
No.
Torres Commodore.
Torres Commodore.
And then you actually think about it and you go, well, hang on. There's at Musgrave Park, you go into one of these big tents. It's about 30 metres long or something. And in order to get the backpack or the big ticket item that they got, you got to go through and meet all the professionals and, So I thought, all right. In order, we'll go the Coming of the Light or something, Island of Origin series or something. Put a little 12-footer up there and say, okay, 12 foot's not that much. Yeah, all right. You want ticket in that? Come in. Meet our professionals.
Get
your little card ticked off,
You
can put that in the box. But that would be much more useful than a frisbee.
That's right. Especially up there. That's right.
What are you going on for the weekend? Start off with you, Chris. What are you going on for the weekend?
Trying to keep warm for a start. I'm in the process of managing my diet during the week. So I get Saturday and Sunday off. So I'll probably go down to Dixon. Just keeping warm. If Saturday or Sunday is a nice day, I'll go for a motorbike ride. I'll layer up and look like Michelin Man. Because that was how I managed my mental health. I was diagnosed with PTSD when I was working on the Royal Commission. And like many, I didn't know what it was. So I was self-medicating with grog. Then I discovered what it was in Nala Health Service, actually. And then, so that's my motorbike became my But
fair enough.
Keeping warm for us.
Keep it warm, yeah.
What about you, CJ? What are you up to?
Oh, mate, I'm probably doing the same, but it's not as cold as down there down where Chris is. But I got my young bloke coming down. I think he's coming down on Sunday, actually, so that'll be good. We haven't seen him down here yet. I'm down the Gold Coast as well, Chris. So, we go up there quite a bit, but one of them's coming down on Sunday, so that's good. But I've got a bit of work to do. Besides going for that walk on the beach and trying to look after myself. Now I'll start looking after what food I eat. I put a pot of soup on this morning, so I'm good for tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, mate. Yeah, so.
I'll be around for that, brother.
Yeah. What about you, bro? What are you going to do?
We've got something exciting happening tomorrow up at Broadbeach. We've got our first fathers and mothers groups happening here. So just something that we're in partnership with Queensland Health, where we're trying to establish is a fathers group and a mothers group. So a bit of a joint meeting up there. They'll be separate, but not far away. So we're hoping to get a few people there and have a bit of fun, I guess, and see what they want. So
good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I see Rossi Bullman's on there, mate. Keep up the great work.
Hey, Roscoe.
I've got a question for you, Chris. Steve Torrance Khan.
Oh, yeah.
Can you ask?
From Darwin, but okay.
Yeah, big troublemaker, that fella.
He's got big troublemaker. He's put some big words in this question. So, can you ask Chris if diabetes metabolically and psychologically affects your emotional well-being or mental health, and how much? It seems to be an underestimated and missing or less in the consideration of the area of research for our mind. So,
absolutely smashes us mentally. We've got, because all of the available literature up until now is also, you're going to die from this. This is killing you. It's all that deficit model. You did it to yourself. And it's so prevalent in our communities and in our families that it has a toll. It takes a very much a psychological toll on us. And part of our back on track messaging is around managing mental health and looking out for others. So that will be one of the key messages. But metabolically, thanks for that question, Bella. Yeah, our bodies are still not, and the other interesting thing, and Steve will know this, or Steve is part of this too, diabetes particularly affects Aboriginal people, Asian people, and Pacific Islanders, right? So if you're like me, and I know Steve got background too, if you're a China origine or a Blackanese, and my mom from Brew, my surname Lee. It's a double whammy. Metabolically, I am predisposed to these conditions, to this condition. And because I'm unable to manage or maintain a traditional diet and traditional lifestyle, there's unless I do Brother Ray's program and eat dirt or whatever, it's just going to smash us. And it weighs heavily. It weighs heavily on you every day. Look, and that doesn't mean, and that's not to mention all the other intergenerational trauma that we suffer, the poverty, and all the other issues that are also impacting our mental health.
And now, Chris, I'm going to ask you another question, but follow on that one is that, what sort of advice, I suppose, would you give to someone, or like a family that's looking after someone or living with someone with diabetes and going through this? Because, you mentioned earlier that, you had trouble listening to a white doctor telling you that your diagnosis. Then if your family knows you got diabetes and they're on your back saying, no, stop eating that stuff or whatever, what advice can you give to people that,
And good question. It's hard to do a one-size-fits-all because people are in so many different situations. I'd say one of the big things that people can do is go to their local Aboriginal medical centre, Aboriginal medical service, and learn as much as you can about the condition and what it is and what it's doing physically to our bodies and how it affects us. You start to do things like, and in Diabetes Queensland through Eric Mobb, we've got a Facebook group that we talk about. One brother boy was saying he was quite a big boy and he was mobility issues, but he could walk to his front gate and back, right? So we're saying, brother, well done. And we said, well, next time go from that front gate to the power pole just next door, and it's just about so that with diabetes, it's around the pancreas not producing enough insulin, and then it's not getting into our cells. But exercise helps our body absorb the insulin a lot more when we don't, or glucose, sorry, when we don't exercise and we keep eating carbs and a few other things. That just builds up and glugs up our systems. So little lifestyle changes. We can't advocate that you go on a strict, steamed chicken and broccoli diet, or you got to run ultra marathons or whatever. But instead of saying, "Here, knock that off, don't eat that," say, "Here, uncle, come for a walk with me, just around the yard. We'll just do a lap around the house." Them frangipani are out at the moment. Come and have a smell. Little things like that. And I call it exercising by stealth, you know.
Yeah,
We used to call it learning by stealth, but you just go, yeah, come for a walk, and then and go for a walk. And if that 100-year-old war veteran can walk around his place 100 times, and go for a walk, and I like to do things like, yeah, come on then, yeah, you used to play football, didn't you? What was it like back in the day? Get them yarning, and then they'll forget in a minute. And next minute they done 10 laps around the house. And then you'll be one going, no, come on, knock it off. Let's go and have a cup of tea.
That's it. Well, good advice, mate. Thank you very much for that, because I know that it's difficult when you're living with someone with a chronic disease, and unless you know what it is as well, what they're going through, it's very hard to sort of live with it and be able to help out. I would imagine, but
that's the first step, and then
absolutely.
Have a second round with you, Chris. Come on and have another yarn about some of the stuff.
Oh, don't start me on the criminal justice system, brother. Black Lives Matter. No, but Steve's question around mental health, that was one of the biggest issues in the prisons as well. The level of undiagnosed and untreated mental health issues that led to our highest incarceration rates in the country. And then once you're in there, you're in a vicious cycle. You can't get out. If you come out with a prison record, you can't get a job.
Yeah.
And if you can't read or write or use technology, if you're not digitally literate, you can't get a job.
Yeah.
So that's another story. But anyway, that's why I volunteer out here at AMC. I come down to explain away and get my Working with Vulnerable People card. Because most of our mob in jail, and AMC, Alexander McConaughey Centre, you go into the art centre and someone's painted big up on the wall, Waka Waka. I should have been looked in here. But they might do, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years lagging, 3-year sentence, and have not one visitor.
Yeah.
NAIDOC Day. I've been at a centre where with 600 centre population, 300 Murrays, they kept 200 Murrays locked up as a punishment. Wouldn't let them come to NAIDOC Day.
Yeah.
That's just wrong. But anyway, another yarn.
That's another yarn, brother.
That's good, but
we've also got Dan Hogan watching. Dan's over in England. So g'day, Dan. He said, morning, comrades. So good morning to you. To us. So
good on you, mate.
Thanks again, Dan. Now, Chris, just want to say thank you so much for your time and such an informative session. I think a lot of people get a lot out of what you had to say, brother. So I just want to congratulate you on all your great work that you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Don't burn out
you too.
yourself. All right.
That's it.
I got 3 layers on. I got 3 layers on, Bruss.
Yeah, look, you got a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
I got a t-shirt too. So
this is wrong. This is wrong.
It's
but
wrong.
anyway, carnival mob survived down here for thousands of years. I can do it for a couple.
Right. Yeah.
Well, listen, I have to say thank you too, Chris. It's been a really pleasure catching up with you again, mate. It's
good to
been
see
a
you
long
again,
time, brother. Yeah.
And Jack,
Yeah.
All right, we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone listening and looking in. I hope I didn't dribble too much.
Good
and if
messages,
there's anything,
Fantastic.
if you need to know anything about these chronic conditions, talk to these two.
Talk to these two, yeah. Or go and find out. Go and get to your AMS and just have a thing.
And talk to family. Talk to family about it.
And don't forget, it's not your fault.
That's right. That's right.
It is not your fault. Yeah.
All right, everyone, have
Good on you, mate.
fantastic weekend. Over and out for us. See you all Monday night. And thanks again, Chris. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, two deadly fellas.
All right.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you later.